Okay, folks, we're back working on the truck. You know what that means. Another week has passed. How you doing, Donnie?
Oh, pretty good. How about you?
Pretty good. They're still laughing about your distributor video.
Yeah, shit happens. You got to do what you got to do to get ready.
All right, so we have been trying to. Quick review. This is an '86 GMC Sierra pickup we've been working on because I can haul arcade games on it. And I'm trying to fix this thing up really nice. I drove it for a long time. Back in the day, somebody swapped a 400 engine into it. It originally would have had like a 305 in it. The engine got down to its last legs. We took it to have it rebuilt. So we had it rebuilt. They reinstalled it. Could not get it to run. It was rebuilt by a reputable rebuilding place, but the guy that installed it wasn't that good at tuning them. So he never did get it to run. We took it to another place. That guy got it to run, but it don't run very good. So he couldn't figure it out either. So now we got it here where Donnie's messing with it. So we've been doing everything to it. So what have we done so far? We took the aluminum intake that they had on it off and put a cast iron intake on it. We put new distributor, new timing. Set the timing, new spark plugs, new spark plug wires. We've ordered spark plug wire retainers to keep them off the manifolds. Haven't got those in yet. That carburetor is new. We adjusted the carburetor. So basically we've got it running, but it's not running great.
The problem we have is with it, it's got a ton of vibration at low RPMs. As soon as RPMs come up, the vibration comes up. So a couple people in our comments, we're a couple weeks ahead on the videos.
Yeah.
So y'all are a couple weeks behind. But in our comments, people are telling us to look at the flywheel and the harmonic balancer. We have done that. Both of those are definitely 400, but we still got a vibration in it.
Let me explain too. The first guy pulled the engine and took it to a rebuilding place. And the rebuilding place, would you vouch for them, Donnie?
Yeah, they're pretty good.
They're pretty good. And we know the guy that actually did the machine work actually fairly well, and we know that guy's really good, the guy that does the machine work for this particular engine rebuilding place. Well, they made the short block, sent it back to the first guy. The first guy, though, and he was very upfront about this at the beginning, he's one of the only guys I could get to work on it, and he told me from the beginning, look, I don't rebuild engines. I can swap an engine, but he's not good with the rest of it. Well, they gave him back a short block, which meant he had to put the intake back on it, the oil pump, the fuel pump, all that stuff. And the guy he's never really done that, so it wasn't his thing. So anyway, long story short, whenever he could get it to turn over, but he had the same problem where it was vibrating, but he couldn't get it to idle. But anyway, the vibration thing from the very beginning, we knew about the difference. So this is a 400. We knew about the difference between a 350 and a 400 being the crank, and that a 400 is externally balanced, a 350 is internally balanced. So while I was standing there, the guy called the engine rebuilder, who's a pro. I mean, these guys do a bunch of them, and asked him on the phone, hey man, this thing's got a vibration. Are you sure you put a 400 crank in it? Donnie, wouldn't a 350 crank go right in it? The bearings might be a different size.
The bearings might be a different size, but length and everything, yes, they'll go in there and it will actually de-stroke it. De-stroke it down and make a racing engine out of it, basically.
So anyway, he called the builder right there in front of me, the guy that had done all the machine work and everything, and asked him, hey, did you put a 400 crank in this, or has it got a 350 crank in it? We're going to order another harmonic balancer. And the guy just, matter-of-factly, like he was pissed off, and the guy said, well, buddy, you dropped me off a 400 engine, so I put a 400 crank in it, so I'm pretty confident that the guy put the right crank in it because he thought it was insulting that we even asked him, which, I can agree with him. But we're trying to track it down. So anyway, we're pretty sure it's got a 400 crank, but who the hell knows? So we've just, tell them what you checked, Donnie.
I just checked the flywheel and the harmonic balancer. Both of them are weighted. The balancer's got the cutout in it, and the flywheel's got weights welded to it. So I'm pretty sure both of these are 400.
See, yes. And to clear up what a couple people have been saying, whenever we were messing with the starter does have It is only supposed to go halfway over the flywheel. The flywheel's in the right place. There's no washers on the harmonic balancer. I mean, not the harmonic balancer, the torque converter. All of that looks right. So we think we're good with the starter part. We think we've got the right flywheel. We think we've got the right harmonic balancer. And when you get on the thing a little bit, the vibration goes away.
Yeah, if you could keep it, say, 1,500 RPMs, it's fine.
It runs smooth.
It's nice and smooth. But with this thing sitting there idling, it's sitting there doing this constantly like it's got a race cam in it, and it shouldn't be doing that.
And whenever we rebuild it just as mild as possible. This engine before had been bored over 40, so it is bored over 40, but we didn't put a crazy cam in it or nothing. This is supposed to be as stock as we can get it. So it's idling and it's running, and we drove it in the last video, as you saw. It drives. We need to work on the brakes a little bit, but
another thing I've noticed when I was driving it, I went out front there and really stood in it, and it launches pretty good, but out there, once the tires get to spinning, out there about 15 feet, the tires stop spinning and it loses all power.
Now you weren't racing right in front of the town hall, were you?
Well, a little bit.
We were just, now, the people from town hall probably watch this, Donnie.
Well, I wasn't racing, but I was getting on.
We were just testing the engine. We know we're not supposed to do that. We're just checking it out. We did it out there because it was a safe place to do it, where we could hit the brakes and everything. Anyway.
But it's losing power out there about 10 or 15 feet, 20 feet out after the tires are already spinning, and no, it didn't shift gears. So it should have just bulled the tires off, and it didn't. So that's another what's going on. So
we are down to, in our opinion, valve problems or cam problems. Now, Donnie, they already saw the video too of you adjusting the valves. So we did adjust the valves by ear. But it could be that we got one sticking open, sticking shut.
Well, I'm hoping somebody's going to tell me on this video what I'm supposed to be doing, but I think I'm going to pull a compression check on it and see if I can see anything with that. I hate to tear the front of this thing off, pull that cam out to look at it with, no kind of nothing. I'm trying to find a smoking gun, and I ain't found one yet. So
we're trying to Sherlock Holmes it, people. On my arcade games when I work on them, I figure out all the things that it's not doing right, and I start at the beginning. So we've tried to do that. So we did fuel, we did air, carburetor, and fuel. We did spark, and so now we're down to mechanical stuff inside the engine, So we've got a compression tester kit I bought a while back. Look at this, Donnie. Boom! Woo! Look at that one. Mm-hmm. Notice how it has that amateur, never been used look. I did use it one time on my Valiant. We might end up getting that down here eventually. So yeah.
We didn't even mention that the other week when we was talking about all that.
Oh yeah, got a Plymouth too. Okay, so we're going to pull out a plug. Donnie has unplugged the wiring on the distributor so that the engine cannot start because there's no spark. And then we're going to plug in the compression test. We're going to remove a spark plug on the first cylinder, turn it over a little bit, see what kind of compression readings we get, and then move on to the next one, and the next one, and the next one. We're going to check all 8 of them and see if we can find one, hopefully completely dead. Now people might say, well, why the hell? Well, because we're looking for the problem. The worst thing that could happen is we get 8 good compression tests. That's what I think. What do you think?
Yeah, if we get one that's, nothing, then we can pull the valve cover and adjust on that valves and look at that, or check, make sure the push rod's going up and down. Something like
Worst
that.
case, pull the head and look at the valve seats and everything, and we got something to look at.
I don't think it's anything major, because if it was a hole in the piston or a bad ring or something, it would just be puking the smoke out of it, and it's not doing that. I mean, I don't know what it is.
All right, so I'm gonna get a piece of paper. I'm gonna write down these compression tests, and we're videoing it. So we're gonna have a permanent record of the compression test. Donnie, what do you think about that?
Yep,
that's good. All right, so we'll let me get something to write on, and then we'll start setting it up. All right, Donnie, what'd you do?
I took out the number 1 and the number 3 just to make it a little faster.
All right.
The 2 plugs out.
So he took the plugs out. He said they're a little rich.
a little rich, a little black.
Now remember, we just put these in. There is 2 miles on these damn things.
If that.
If that. Okay, so that's that. We have hooked up the compression gauge to the very first plug. I'm going to hold the pedal all the way down so that it opens up the carburetor, and then I'm going to turn it over a few times, and Donnie's going to see what that gauge goes up to. Holy hell.
Number one, now that could be a little false because it could be a wet reading. I mean, we're holding the gas open, wide open, and turning it, so it could be a little high because of wet cylinder.
Okay, well, I'm going to write that down. We're looking at
150 exactly.
That's 150. Okay, I was thinking 160. Yeah, we're gonna go with 150. That's close enough to 150. All right, cylinder 3. Donnie said it was a little bit higher and it dropped a little bit.
Yeah, the gauge is losing pressure just ever so slightly.
Let me see, 120. There are 2 hatches, 30, 40. Okay, so that's actually 145, and it's dropping slightly. Okay, number 5, and he's right. It was a little bit higher and started dropping. Well, shit, it's still pretty high. Okay, so yeah, they're all pretty good. You know what that makes me think? Hope the gauge works. All right, we got 140 on this one. Donnie thinks I didn't hold it long enough, though, but we, that's, you know, still well within, I mean, that's only 7% off the highest one.
And our Chilton manual is telling us we can be 25%.
All right. Okay, Donnie wants to retry that one. Go for it, Donnie. Well, I'll be damned. He's right. Okay. You're right. It hit 150. How'd you know it was going to do that?
You can just tell.
He could just tell, people. He could feel it in the air tonight. All right, cylinder 2. We are... Now, I know it's getting on pretty much the same reading every time. I have used this on another engine, though, and got varying readings, but it was a worn engine. This is a brand new build, so you would expect them to be pretty damn close, wouldn't you?
You would think.
All right, so that one might have been a little bit lower, though, Donnie.
No, it wasn't.
It went up to 150?
It would go more.
He swears 150, so we're going to put 150 on our chart. Here, let me show you our chart. I've been keeping meticulous records. Okay? So here... here's our records. So far, cylinder 1 was, what was cylinder 1 again, Donnie?
150.
Oh, okay. Just to confirm, what was cylinder 3?
3 was 150.
Okay, yeah, that's what I got. Okay, I'm gonna jump around, see if you remember cylinder 7. You remember what that one was? I know I skipped one there, but
I believe it was 150.
yeah. All right, so this one's a little bit higher, but I let it turn over 10 times though. Usually I've been doing 8. So you know what I think it was? 150. Number 6. Did it get up to 150, Donnie?
Yep.
Donnie claims 150. Don't ignore that it says 140 right now. He says it was at 150. All right, number 8. Same deal, pretty much on 150. Okay, let's write it all down. All right, folks, here are my meticulous notes. I took very precise readings, and we came up with 150 pounds of compression. Does it measure it in pounds, Donnie? Pounds per square inch, I believe. 150 psi on each cylinder. Now, you may be saying, I don't know, Ronnie. I think some of them were 142. Or that one kind of looked like 152. But I don't think the exact number has to be exact. It was about 150 on all eight of them. So we don't have any cylinders that are way off, which would lead you to believe that there's something wrong with the piston rings or what we were thinking were the valves. Now, Donnie,
Yeah.
did we not just prove that it is not the cam?
I don't know what we proved.
All right, so if anybody knows what the hell they're doing, and because we don't, let us know down below. We're trying to give everybody more information so they can help us figure it out. So we've got a vibration. The thing just doesn't idle quite right. New rebuilt carburetor. Adjusted it with a vacuum gauge. Seems good. New distributor. Seems good. New plugs, new wires, harmonic balancer, flywheel appears to be for a 400. We've got 150 pounds of compression, which I guess is pretty decent. Engine's bored 40 over. We believe we've got a mild cam in it. I would think, Donnie, if the cam was a problem where a lobe was missing, that would mean that you wouldn't get a valve or an exhaust opening at the right time.
Yeah, you wouldn't get it opening all the way, or
which is the reason that it could be a cam problem. You know, whenever people say it could be the cam, they're talking about the lobe being ground off, which means that it wouldn't open a valve all the way.
Well, I don't know if it would open a valve all the way or open it retarded where, you know, it's already fired. So yes, it did open, but it's opening late.
But
and it's closing late.
The compression would be all off though, wouldn't it?
I don't know if it would or not. Basically, I called the machine shop, my buddy over at the machine shop, and he told me that he thought it might be the cams bad in it, that one of the lopes on the cams already wore off, and it's making that happen.
Which may have happened if it was ran for any significant amount of time without oil pressure.
So I don't know. You know, I figured this compression check, we'd find one that was way off, and we'd go, yep, there it is. But nope, there it ain't.
It could be the gauge, though. I mean, I tried the Plymouth. It was a slant 6, and I got 6 different measurements, but they were off like 10 or 15 pounds from each other. So, I mean, it ain't the gauge. It seems like the gauge. And the gauge looks like it's working, right? The way that it pops up, I think we're cool with that. All right, so that's that, folks. So it's running, but it's not running great. So if you got any ideas, things we should check, or if you agree that it's the cam, didn't he replace the lifters though?
Yeah, we replaced the lifters twice in it now.
Now Donnie looked at the lifters and thought that they looked fine.
Yeah, the bottom of the lifters, I looked at them after he pulled them and swapped them. There wasn't no wear on the bottom of the lifters, but the lifters might be harder than the cam, and you might not get anywhere on the lifters. I don't know, to be honest with you. But what we'll do,
I've heard before if you swap a cam, or if you swap a cam, or if you pull a head, you're supposed to put the lifters back in the same shaft they were in, so that the wear still matches up. So they could wear. So anyway, what are you gonna say?
When we get these plugs back in here, we'll start it up with a glass on the front of it here so you guys can see the vibration in it.
Yeah, okay, cool. All right, folks, so this is what we're working with. Donnie has put this Coke bottle on the hood, which will serve as our vibration gauge. Okay? Now, just so you know what we're dealing with here. Right? I'm not even in the truck. Starts right up.
Let me give it a little gas, huh?
All right. Well, that was a lot. Oh, hell, you better come catch it. All right, so leave your comments below. Let us know what you think. Tell them what to do, Donnie.
Subscribe to the channel. Give us a thumbs up for filming it, and we'll catch you on the next one.